This is my ranking of the best Nintendo Switch 2 games I've played, based purely on my personal experience. Each game is placed from masterpiece down to trash, depending on how fun the gameplay feels, how well the ideas are executed, and how memorable the overall experience becomes. Let's get straight into the list. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim is a world where I can choose my own path without feeling restricted or guided too much in one direction. I can follow the main story, ignore it for long stretches, or just walk into the wild and see what I discover next. Every system connects naturally, from crafting gear to learning magic and improving skills simply by using them over time. The world reacts to events, with people talking about war, dragons, and even noticing my growing reputation as I progress. Random moments stand out the most, like a quiet journey suddenly turning into chaos when a dragon appears from the sky. There is always something hidden nearby, making exploration feel meaningful instead of empty space. This one belongs in the excellent tier. Pokémon Pokopia lets me rebuild a broken world while slowly bringing Pokémon back into it through small, steady progress that keeps evolving over time. I start by fixing land, planting grass, and creating simple habitats, then move toward building full areas that feel alive with activity and movement across different regions. Playing as a Ditto adds a unique twist, since I can transform and use different abilities to shape the environment in creative ways. Each Pokémon has its own personality and role, which makes every task feel connected instead of random or repetitive. There are constant small goals that keep me moving, like helping a Pokémon settle in or expanding a new area step by step. Watching empty places slowly fill with life gives a clear sense of progress. This one settles into the good tier. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth takes me far beyond the city and into a massive world that feels alive, detailed, and full of constant discovery at every step. Each region opens up with its own identity, filled with side activities, characters, and moments that slowly build a deeper connection to the journey. Combat feels layered, where I switch between characters, plan attacks, and combine abilities to handle tougher enemies instead of relying on simple actions. The story carries strong emotional weight. Exploring every corner and uncovering new details keeps the journey engaging from start to finish. This easily stands in the masterpiece tier. Super Mario Odyssey takes me across a wide range of creative worlds, where every area feels different and full of surprises waiting to be discovered. I'm constantly finding new ways to move, explore, and interact with the environment, especially with the capture ability that lets me control enemies and use their skills in unique situations. Each kingdom introduces fresh ideas, from platforming challenges to small activities that break the pace in a good way. The mix of classic elements with new mechanics keeps everything feeling familiar but still different at the same time. Exploration is where most of the challenge comes from, with hidden moons pushing me to look at every corner carefully. Even after finishing the main journey, there is still a lot left to uncover and experiment with. This easily rises to the masterpiece tier. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond takes me into a quiet, atmospheric journey where exploration feels tense, detailed, and rewarding across every location I visit. I move through alien environments, scanning clues, solving puzzles, and unlocking upgrades that slowly open new paths and hidden areas. The new abilities add fresh ways to interact with the world, even if some ideas feel familiar at times. Combat stays focused and controlled, where I lock onto enemies and manage movement instead of rushing through fights. What stands out most is the balance between isolation and story moments, allowing long stretches of silence while still adding characters that shape parts of the journey. Some sections feel uneven, especially in larger open areas, but the strongest parts reach a very high level. This clearly stands in the masterpiece tier. Resident Evil Requiem blends slow survival horror with fast-paced action, creating a mix that shifts as the story moves forward. I begin with tense exploration, limited resources, and careful movement where every step matters and danger can appear without warning. Later, the pace changes into heavier combat with stronger weapons and larger encounters that feel more aggressive and chaotic. Switching between these styles keeps things varied, though the balance between them feels uneven at times. The new main character adds a grounded human side to the story, while familiar faces bring energy during intense sequences. The environments stay detailed and disturbing, with strong sound design adding to the tension throughout. Some sections feel stronger than others, but the experience stays engaging from start to finish. This one lands in the great tier. Hollow Knight Silksong takes me through a challenging journey filled with sharp platforming, detailed environments, and constant exploration that keeps opening new paths in unexpected ways. I move through a beautifully designed world where every area feels distinct, with hidden routes, secrets, and characters that slowly reveal more about the story. Combat requires patience and timing, where learning enemy patterns becomes key to surviving tougher encounters and boss fights. The difficulty stays high, but it feels fair as I improve and unlock new abilities that change how I approach obstacles. The world design encourages exploration instead of forcing a single path, allowing me to step away and return stronger when needed. There is always something new waiting around the corner, keeping the journey engaging from beginning to end. This clearly earns its spot in the masterpiece tier. Kirby Air Riders brings a fast and chaotic racing style that feels different from anything else, with simple controls that take time to truly understand. I steer, drift, and manage boosts while dealing with unpredictable movement that keeps every race active and slightly messy in a fun way. Each machine handles differently, which adds variety and makes learning them part of the experience. The main modes offer a lot to do, especially the open city mode where I collect upgrades and prepare for a final challenge. There is always something unlocking in the background, from new characters to customization options that keep things moving forward. Some mechanics feel limited because of the simple control design, but there is still a strong sense of variety and replay value across modes. This one sits comfortably in the excellent tier. Bravely Default Flying Fairy follows a classic RPG structure while adding its own twist through a turn-based system that changes how I plan every battle. I manage turns by saving them or using multiple actions at once, which creates a constant balance between risk and defense. The job system stands out, allowing me to mix abilities and experiment with different setups that change how each fight plays out. The story moves in unexpected directions, with characters growing through events that feel heavier than they first appear. Difficulty can spike at times, forcing me to rethink strategies and prepare more carefully before major encounters. Some parts of the game repeat more than they should, which slows things down later on, but the core systems stay engaging throughout. This one lands in the great tier. Hogwarts Legacy lets me explore a detailed magical world where I attend classes, learn spells, and move freely across a large map filled with secrets and activities at every step. I spend time exploring the castle, flying across open areas, and taking on quests that range from simple tasks to more meaningful story moments that build over time. Combat stands out with a mix of spells that can be combined in different ways, making each encounter feel active and skill-based instead of repetitive or slow. The world feels alive with characters, side activities, and small details that keep things interesting for long sessions. Some parts, like enemy variety and technical performance, can feel limited, especially later on, but there is still plenty to discover throughout the journey. This one settles into the excellent tier. Mario Kart World keeps the racing fast, chaotic, and full of energy, with smooth controls that feel easy to pick up but still take time to fully master. I race across well-designed tracks where every turn, shortcut, and item matters, especially with more racers adding extra pressure and unpredictability. The new mechanics like rail grinding and wall riding add more depth, even if they take time to learn properly. The open world idea sounds interesting, but the strongest moments still come from the traditional tracks, where everything feels more focused and exciting. Multiplayer stands out the most, creating intense and unpredictable races that stay fun no matter how many times I play. There are some uneven parts in certain modes and systems, but the core racing stays strong and engaging throughout. This one races straight into the masterpiece tier. Sonic X Shadow Generations mixes classic and modern gameplay styles, letting me switch between fast 2D sections and full 3D levels that keep the pacing constantly changing. I move through familiar stages with updated visuals while also playing new levels built around Shadow's abilities, which add fresh ways to approach movement and combat. His powers like time control and new traversal skills open different paths, making replaying stages feel more meaningful. There is a strong sense of speed and flow when everything clicks, especially while chasing better routes and improving performance. The amount of content feels solid, with both campaigns offering plenty to go through, even if some parts are shorter than expected. A few sections feel less polished than others, but the strongest moments stand out clearly. This one finds its place in the great tier. The Disney Afternoon Collection brings together a set of classic 2D platformers that still carry a strong retro feel, but not all of them hold up equally today. I go through multiple games with different styles, from exploration-focused levels to simple action stages, and the quality changes a lot between them. Some titles still feel fun with solid design and memorable music, while others feel repetitive or too limited in their mechanics. The rewind feature helps reduce frustration, especially during harder sections, but it doesn't fix the older design choices that feel outdated now. There is some charm in the presentation and history behind these games, especially for those familiar with them, but the experience feels uneven across the full collection. This one ends up in the mediocre tier. Pokémon Legends ZA takes me through a focused city setting where exploration feels tighter and more meaningful instead of being spread across a huge, empty world. I move through different areas, take on side quests, and interact with characters who feel more involved in the story than usual. The biggest change comes from the combat, which shifts into a more active system where positioning and timing matter during battles. It takes some time to adjust, but it adds a new layer of strategy that keeps fights engaging. Exploring the city leads to small surprises, like rare Pokémon hidden in less obvious places. Some visual areas feel repetitive and a few technical issues still appear, but the improvements in design and gameplay stand out clearly. This one fits well into the excellent tier. Donkey Kong Bananza delivers a creative platforming experience where I can break through the environment and interact with the world in ways that feel dynamic and constantly evolving. I move through layered areas filled with secrets, puzzles, and collectibles using abilities that allow me to destroy terrain, uncover hidden paths, and approach challenges in different ways. The movement feels smooth and expressive, making simple actions like jumping, climbing, and attacking feel satisfying over long sessions. Each area introduces new ideas and mechanics, keeping the experience fresh instead of repetitive. There is a strong sense of discovery while exploring, with rewards that make searching every corner worthwhile. Some moments feel easier than expected due to powerful abilities, but the creativity and design remain strong throughout. This one finds its place in the great tier. Split Fiction builds a co-op experience where I have to work closely with another player, constantly communicating and reacting to changing situations across different types of gameplay that keep shifting often. I move through a mix of platforming, action, and puzzle sections that change regularly, keeping things fresh instead of repeating the same ideas for too long. Each level introduces something new, whether it's a different setting, mechanic, or challenge that requires coordination and timing to get through smoothly. Movement feels responsive, making it easier to focus on teamwork rather than struggling with controls or precision. Some moments feel uneven, especially when one player falls behind or certain sections lack polish, but the variety keeps things engaging across the full journey. This one fits into the good tier. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom expands the world in ways that constantly surprise me, with new layers above and below that make exploration feel deeper and more rewarding at every step. I can build machines, combine weapons, and solve problems in multiple ways, which makes each situation feel flexible instead of fixed. Moving through the world feels natural, whether I'm gliding from the sky, diving into dark areas, or just following something interesting in the distance. There is always something pulling my attention, with small discoveries often leading into bigger moments that keep the journey going. Combat and puzzles feel more varied, adding new ideas without losing what already worked before. Even after many hours, there is still more left to uncover. This one clearly belongs among the masterpiece tier. Yakuza 0 follows a strong crime story that keeps me engaged through its characters, twists, and the way everything builds over time. I switch between two main characters, each with their own perspective, which adds more depth to the overall narrative. The world feels dense and full of life, with small streets packed with activities, side missions, and unexpected moments that break up the serious tone. Combat is direct and satisfying, with different fighting styles that I can switch between depending on the situation. There are times where fights feel a bit limited compared to newer systems, but they still hold up well. What stands out most is the mix of serious storytelling and light side content that creates a unique balance. This one finds its place in the excellent tier. Cyberpunk 2077 takes me into a dense city where almost everything I do feels like it can shape the outcome in small or meaningful ways. I explore different districts, take on missions, and make choices that change how characters react and how certain events play out later. The side quests stand out the most, often feeling just as important as the main story and adding emotional weight to the journey. Combat gives me flexibility, letting me approach situations with stealth, hacking, or direct action depending on how I want to play. The world design feels detailed and alive, with something happening in every corner I visit. There are still moments where bugs and technical issues break immersion, but the core experience stays strong. This one settles into the great tier. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle follows a globe-trotting adventure where I explore detailed locations, solve puzzles, and uncover clues that connect into a larger mystery across different regions. I move through varied environments, from ancient ruins to busy cities, with each place offering its own challenges, secrets, and atmosphere that keeps things fresh. The first-person perspective makes exploration feel more direct, especially when interacting with objects or solving puzzles step by step. Combat is simple but effective, focusing more on timing, movement, and using tools instead of constant shooting or heavy action. The story stands out with strong characters and moments that stay true to the series' tone. Some stealth sections feel basic, and a few systems don't always work smoothly, but the adventure stays engaging throughout. This one earns its spot in the excellent tier. Hades 2 builds on a strong foundation while adding new layers that keep every run feeling fresh, challenging, and worth coming back to again. I fight through different paths, choosing routes that change enemies, rewards, and how each run plays out from start to finish. Combat feels fast and responsive, with new abilities and weapons that push me to think more about positioning and timing instead of just reacting. The progression system keeps expanding, adding upgrades, characters, and systems at a steady pace without feeling overwhelming. The world design, music, and characters all come together to create a strong atmosphere that stays consistent throughout. There is always something new to unlock or improve, making each run feel meaningful even after many attempts. This one rises straight into the masterpiece tier. Super Mario Party Jamboree expands the classic party formula with more boards, mini-games, and options that keep matches feeling active and unpredictable from start to finish. I play through different boards that each bring unique mechanics, forcing me to adjust my strategy instead of repeating the same approach every time. The variety of items and rules adds more control, letting me choose between chaotic matches or more skill-based setups depending on how I want to play. Minigames stay fun and creative even if the total pool feels smaller than expected in longer sessions. Playing with others is where it shines the most, while solo content feels weaker and less engaging over time. Some modes don't hold attention for long, but the main experience remains strong and replayable. This one lands in the good tier. In the end, this list reflects how each game stayed with me through its gameplay, ideas, and overall experience rather than just its scale or reputation. Rankings can change over time, but these are the ones that left the strongest impact on me right now. Thanks for watching.